Jammu and Kashmir are in the news again because Indian government has made Article 370 of its constitution ineffective with regards to this area disputed between India and Pakistan. This article gave Jammu and Kashmir a special status that safeguarded the Muslim majority from being forcibly converted into a minority via resettlement. At the heart of the problem lies the instrument of accession that made it possible for Jammu and Kashmir to accede to India in 1947. The question remains, after more than 70 years, whether the instrument was legitimate or not. In light of the recent revoking of Article 370, you may be surprised to know that the instrument may have become redundant. So, it is important to understand how the instrument came about. From 1846 to 1947, Jammu and Kashmir was a princely state under British suzerainty ruled by a Hindu Maharaja. Maharaja Hari Singh was the autocratic ruler in the crucial years of the partition of India of 1947, while Ramchandra Kak was appointed as Prime Minister by the Maharaja. In the 1941 census, 77% of the Kashmiri population was found to be Muslim and 20% Hindu. The Hindus were concentrated in Jammu and were very pro-Maharaja. They were also affiliated with the Hindutva group RSS. Hindu-Sikh Muslim riots in Punjab and Hazara region of modern-day Pakistan led to a few thousand Sikh and Hindus reaching Kashmir between November 1946 and January 1947. The situation intensified in March 1947 and a much larger violence was meted out to Jammu Muslims in September of that year with the aid of RSS and the Maharaja's Dogra army, with some even implicating the Maharaja personally. It was in this context that the Maharaja had to take the decision to accede to either India or Pakistan or seek independence. Kak, the Prime Minister, despite being a Hindu, was soft towards the Muslim League, which had spearheaded the demand for Pakistan, but not so soft so as to favor actual accession of Kashmir to Pakistan. The Maharaja, however, came under the influence of his Deputy Prime Minister R.L. Batra, a Hindu Swami, and his brother-in-law Nachint Chand, both of whom wanted Kashmir to accede to India. Under their influence, Kak found himself dismissed on 11th August 1947. A few days later, India and Pakistan gained their own independence from the British. By mid-September, the Maharaja's government faced a blockade of essential supplies from Pakistan, which had reacted after a local uprising in Poonch, Jammu, of spring 1947. On 19 September, Maharaja Hari Singh sent Meherchand Mahajan, his next nominee Prime Minister and later Chief Justice of India, to India for supplies. He also stated that the Maharaja wished to accede to India. Indian Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru placed the condition that the pro-Congress dissident Sheikh Abdullah be released. Only then would India accept Kashmir. Abdullah was released on 29 September. With involvement of Pakistani tribes and facing mutiny from Muslim troops in the Dogra army, the Maharaja asked for Indian troops as his troops were outnumbered. Nehru sent V.P. Menon to assess the situation. He returned early on 26 October 1947 and reported that the Maharaja had gone to pieces completely and could come to no decision. The Prime Minister Mahajan, however, desperately wanted the military aid and threatened that he would go and negotiate terms with Jinnah, the Governor-General of Pakistan, instead. According to Mahajan, this angered Nehru, but at the persuasion of fellow leaders Vallabhbhai Patel and Sheikh Abdullah, his attitude changed. Mahajan reports that the next morning, the 27th of October 1947, the 1st Sikh Battalion was airlifted from New Delhi to Srinagar, the summer capital of Jammu and Kashmir. At 9 a.m., upon receiving news of the troops landing in Srinagar, he and VP Menon flew to Jammu to meet Hari Singh, who had arrived the previous night to his winter capital. There, on the 27th, the Maharajas signed the instrument of accession after the troops had been deployed. This sequence of events is crucial. VP Menon claims that the instrument was signed before any troops were sent. Mahajan reports the reverse, emphatic that he planned to not return to Jammu and Kashmir at all until Indian troops had secured the airbase. If Mahajan's version is taken to be correct, then the Indian troop deployment would be considered an invasion by a foreign army and the Maharaja's agency questionable. The date on the instrument is indeed 26th, as you can see here, but one could write any date there, and scholars have debated whether the actual date was 27th and not 26th. Wolpert seems to side with Mahajan, so does Raghavan and Alistair Lamb, whereas Indian commentator Jha claims that the instrument was signed on a third date, the 25th of October. There is, however, one more crucial piece of evidence. When the Indian troops landed in Srinagar, they were surprised to find gunners from the state of Patiala already guarding the airfield. Patiala was a princely state that had acceded to India on the 15th of August 1947. The Sikh Maharaja of Patiala had provided Hari Singh with a battalion of infantry and a battery of mountain artillery in the first 2 weeks of October of 1947. These troops were under the government of India, and Alistair Lamb believes that Vallabhbhai Patel and Baldev Singh at least knew that they were stationed in Srinagar. This lends credence to the argument that the Indian deployment of troops was before the signing of the instrument and therefore is to be taken as an invasion. That the Maharaja was coerced into signing it also finds credibility among historians, as we saw earlier in the video. In the instrument, Clause 7 states that nothing in this instrument shall be deemed to commit me in any way to acceptance of any future constitution of India, or to fetter my discretion to enter into arrangements with the government of India under any such future constitution. Now, on the 5th of August 2019, the presidential decree of the Indian president passed today would force the Kashmiris to commit to accept the Indian constitution. I leave the viewer to decide whether the instrument now holds and whether it was legitimate in the first place.